How many of us can say we followed our dreams in life and made them come true? Who doesn't have a childhood Neverland they'd love to escape to for a weekend, or perhaps forever? You are about to meet the extraordinary Brigitte Kassa, who did just that. At age 10, Bridget imagined living on a tropical island in the sun after seeing a Technicolor film with her aunt in cold, dreary World War II Germany. She knew that somehow this would be her destiny. Bridget left Germany at a young age, ran a famous nightclub in Monte Carlo, and with her second husband, Basil, traveled the globe looking for that one particular harbor to build her dream home. In 1973, she discovered Little Cayman Island and decided this is where she would make her dream a reality. So she left the champagne bubbles of Monte Carlo for the coconuts of her island in the sun. Bridget is now 85 years old. She lives solo in her paradise, but stays young in spirit, working in her garden every day and preserving the island to keep it, as she says, pristine. Against all odds put together, Bridget and her husband built their tropical island home. This is a rare interview and tour in her beautiful house, surrounded by the treasures she and Basil collected on their world travels. Each holds a memory and story of her amazing life's journey. Bridget graciously allowed us into her private paradise, as she has in her autobiography, to share her story, from coffee to champagne to coconuts. Here is her inspiring story. Bridget, in your book, you talk about having a dream to live on a tropical island from when you were a little girl in Germany.
Yes.
So where did you get that inspiration?
I was 10 years old, and the first time we saw a movie after the war with my Aunt Didi, we went to a movie. The first time I saw a movie in color, and it must have been from Hawaii, because a beautiful island, palm trees, and sandy beaches. And I said to my aunt one time, when I was 10, I said, one time I will have an island in the sun exactly like this one. So I forgot about this, and all my journey took me to different places all over the world. But then all of a sudden, it came back to me. I looked for an island in the sun. I had a difficult childhood, but this never really in the back of my mind. It was, I need sun, I need sun. I didn't like Germany, and it was cold, and I didn't like cold at all. So my dream was island in the sun, but finally my second husband, he took me around the world, and we looked all over the world to find the exact what I liked. But then we found Grand Cayman in 1968, and we loved Grand Cayman. And this was the beginning of my dream.
And how did you pick this particular incredible
Well, like
site?
I said, we wanted to buy in Grand Cayman land because it was beautiful. There were not many people, maybe 30,000 altogether on the island. And the 7 Mile Beach was empty, nobody lived there. And we had Pan Cayman house was there, and we stayed there and rented it, and we walked the beach, and in my book you see there was nobody there, and Basil took pictures and things. We were swimming, and we liked. by chance, after the second time or what we came to Grand Cayman, we found a gentleman. He said, it's not only Grand Cayman, there are two others, sister islands, which we didn't know, and not many people know about, Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. So he said, well, once a week there's a DC-3 coming in Grand Cayman, and then we fly to Little Cayman. I said, okay, how we get connection? And he gave us an address from one Caymanian lady from here, Miss Eleanor Baden. She will write to you because my husband and I were from New Jersey. And Miss Eleanor, after a couple of months, wrote to us, Blossom Village, Little Cayman, number 364. So we thought, wow, 300 people are there, right? From Grand Cayman, we took the DC-3 and wrote Miss Eleanor that we would arrive then and then, like always dressed in high heels, stockings and miniskirt. So we arrived here in the grass strip. It was in February 73, I think, yeah, 73 we arrived here. And there was maybe 10 people standing at the airport, mostly older, like between 60 and 80, and they all waited for us. So I stepped off from the airplane with high heels. My heels sunk in the sand right away. I could hardly walk. They greeted us and were happy that somebody comes, you know, to this Forgotten Island. We called it Forgotten Island. There was an older man, Uncle Joe, with mustache. Right away he said, what does she want here, you know? The mosquitoes take her away, and him with the high heels and so and so. He was all disagreeing, and I said hi, and my husband said, what did he say? What did he say? Because he couldn't understand the Caymanian accent. So I said, oh, he welcomes us, and I'm very pretty. Oh, okay, we stay. Then if I told my husband what he really said, he would say right away, come on, get off, you know. And then Miss Eleanor said, okay, jump in a truck, you drive. I said, okay, to Blossom Village. So we thought, okay, Blossom Village, 300 people, right? And there was an almond tree in the middle of the village. And on the almond tree was written 300 and a number. And I said, well, where are the houses? Well, this is it, two houses and a little store with not much in, and one cottage to rent. Actually, Lyndon Tibbetts rented us out, and with a generator, but we had no idea from generator or nothing. And so, but she said, bring food with you, because there's nothing, no shops, no roads, no nothing. So I said, oh, this looks good. The people, I liked the people because they criticized me, but which was right. But I liked them. They're otherwise friendly. And so we rented it, and Miss Eleanor said, okay, there's a generator on the other side of the road, and the description is all written down. You figured it out. So it was, but nice. They were nice, you know. And then we went to the beach, and it was fantastic. I mean, very quiet, no person, no traffic, no nothing. Pristine. It was pristine. So we stayed. Naturally, we fell in love right away. Then we went to the little store and asked what food they had. We had a couple of cans, and the rat was running out up there, and said, "Okay, only can good, because otherwise the rats would get it, or, you know, yeah." And then Miss Eleanor said she has a radio phone. So she cranked up the radio phone once in a while when somebody needed. But next day we had cassava, bananas in front of the door. Nobody said anything from whom it came or what. They all lined up food for us to eat. So I said, that's the island. They are nice, they are friendly, and they like us. And then we walked a little bit from the tree houses, from the little village. There was a cemetery too, a little cemetery, but we walked the beach, and then we saw a for sale sign on. And no, there were a couple of trees they left, but it was bulldozed down. And, you know, you could see the sand, and there was a tree log. So we were sitting there and looked at the water, and oh God. And I touched the sand, I said, that's it. This is my dream, and I like to be here. I want to be here.
Bridget had found her lifelong dream location to spend the rest of her life. When she and Basil arrived on the island, there were only 10 inhabitants, and there are still today only about 160 permanent residents. And off we go for a tour of Blossom Village and a look back in time.
When you moved here, so Uncle Joe and Aunt Sissy, how long had they already lived here?
Forever. They were born here.
Oh, they
were born here. And Sissy was born here, but Uncle Joe went Jamaica, and then he got sick and cancer, and they thought he has cancer, and they put him back to Little Cayman, and he was okay, and his wife died on cancer. So he lived around the 90s, yes. Look here, look, this is the old cemetery, see? Couple of good graves, Baden.
A lot of Badens around here.
Baden, yeah. Okay, this was Linden Tibbets, all this was Linden Tibbets, and we stayed in one of the unit, which you see in my book. Mm-hmm. And this was, you know, just stretched. But this was Uncle Joe's place right here. And here comes Miss Eleanor's house, and here's our post office, see? This is the village, Blossom Village. 3 houses. I will show you the 2 old houses who are still here. This is Captain Theo's barn villa.
That's a beautiful house. Yeah. How long has this been here?
Before me.
Wow.
So they were here forever. I guess they lived here, you know.
Who lives here now?
Nobody.
Oh, no one lives here now.
They come once in a while from Grand Cayman, and they has 2 sisters, Pansy and Maureen. And when Christmas is, they make a fantastic decoration in Grand Cayman.
Oh, I've seen
all
that.
The yard full, yeah, very, very famous. Yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful.
So Captain Theo is no longer here, but yeah, this is so pretty. So, very nice that they kept it up, you know.
I realized I had just had a tour of Blossom Village by the oldest living resident, an early pioneer who knew these original settlers, who are now part of the legend of Little Cayman. And now, so is Brigitte Kassa. Bridget had found her perfect island in the sun, pristine beaches, emerald oceans, and the peace and quiet of her own private paradise. Now it was time to build her dream house and face the many obstacles she'd have to navigate to realize her dream. Not just to visit paradise, but to live in paradise. Bridget and Basil had no idea that it would take 6 years after arriving on the island to complete their castle, as Bridget referred to it.
I don't climb anymore.
Oh, did you used to climb up the tree?
No, we had a tractor, and my husband lifted me up. And this was in 1973.
Oh my gosh. Woohoo! Look at that.
Yeah, wow. Young. Yeah, we built this house and we worked with our workers and helpers, and then we stopped. We worked for 3 months. Then we stopped and traveled and shut off completely the work, because we didn't let anybody work alone.
Unless
because
you were
my
here.
husband was very intelligent and engineer, and I never built a house, but there we are.
Where did you get the workers to come over in this remote island?
Von Cayman Brac. We hired von Cayman Brac. They were happy because in that time in the 70s, there was no work. People who wanted to stay here because there was no shops, there was no road, there was nothing. There was only 10 natives and us. So they didn't think much first why we want to stay, but this was my dream when I was 10 years old. I always wanted an island in the sun. So we got the workers from the Braken. They were very, very good. Actually.
And where would they stay when they would come over?
We had old houses we just rented where nobody was in, the native houses. And I had to cook for them breakfast and lunch, and we went fishing and conking. I went alone and got 30 conchs an hour, and we had between 8 and 10 people. Also cooked, we made a fire outside, and yeah, like a native. But this was a dancing floor. This was our dancing floor.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have parties out here?
Yeah, party. There was no supplier here, so my husband chartered a landing craft, like a military landing craft. It could go to the salt rocks because this was very rough terrain. The bow opened, and then we could get all block material all out, and yeah, the tractor here, the crane. So for this, we could build the house.
So nothing was easy when you got here, it
No,
sounds like.
nothing.
Everything was difficult.
Yes, yes. Yeah, but if you really want something, you have to give, you have to give. This was my dream, and I think I live my dream. I am.
You are definitely
I
living your
live my
dream
dream,
still.
yes.
How many people get to do that?
No, I don't know, not many.
Not
but
too many, I don't
no,
think.
No. But you have to have a goal in your life, and go after it. It was hard, it was not easy, no. But if it's easy, then you don't appreciate it, But I'm very, very content in myself.
The essential element and key to realizing her dream was her marriage and relationship with Basil. Together, they traveled in style and collected treasures and memories from all over the world. Basil sold his tech company in 1974, which afforded them an enviable lifestyle and provided for the building of their castle. A new gentleman enlightened by life is how Bridget introduces Basil in her book. From their meeting in Monaco at the Gypsy Club, which Bridget founded and ran in the 60s, attracting celebrities from all over the world, Basil fell in love with Bridget while she was still married and he was divorced. He came to the club every night for a week. Bridget nicknamed him the Ship. Champagne flowed. Bridget writes, "I admired his perseverance and was attracted to him for his gallant manners." Basil promised to make her dream come true and find her island in the sun if she would marry and travel the world with him, which she did. Bridget preferred her island lifestyle and being at home amidst their travels. Basil did not. Bridget writes in her book that Basil said, "Bridget, I like Little Cayman, but you know that is not my dream. It is yours. I'm willing to please you and build a house for us to live in. You must promise me not to become a complete native. I want you to be dressed up in the evening for dinner with your stockings and high heels. I want you to promise to travel with me whenever I want, for however long I want to be away from Little Cayman." Bridget writes that she thought fast and agreed. Basil clearly had a thing for Bridget's legs, stockings, and high heels. When they were courting, he took Bridget to Saks Fifth Avenue in New York and knew the stocking department surprisingly well. He picked out an abundance of Christian Dior and Berkshire stockings for her to wear. Whether traveling, on the beach, or in the kitchen. These were the terms of Basil's agreement with Bridget, for which, in return, he would provide her dream house and a life in paradise. Bridget gave us a rare glimpse into Basil's magnificent obsession with her.
Hey, what is it?
This is the bedroom, and look at my bird pictures all over. This is what I like.
Beautiful.
But I don't know if you remember, like I told you before, I had to make a deal with my late husband, Basil, and he loved to take pictures of my legs. And to show you look at this, he was a very good photographer.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, so I had to make a deal. And this was the deal, but I have my Little Cayman, and I'm happy.
That's a good trade-off. I mean,
Trade-off.
yeah,
That was
to
a
get.
trade-off, yeah.
Well, let's go back to Basil.
Oh.
What was Basil's request when you would cook and
A cook always, he loved high heels, he loved my legs, and he gets excited about my legs, and I had to wear stockings and high-heeled shoes and short skirt. The seams has to be exactly, and like a little doll, you know. And then I became 50 and I didn't want to do this anymore. Then he got upset.
What happened?
And he got upset. He said, no, you have to wear it. Otherwise, I take my life. I said, no, you will not do that. No, no, no. But he really tried to. And well, he took my car, my old, this was a green car, Green Hornet, I called him. And he took my car and said, I will go to Salt Rocks and dump the whole car, everything in the water. He was mad. I said, you promised with 50 I can wear longer skirt and high heels okay, but longer skirt. He said, no, I didn't say that. I said, yes, you did. So after a while, he disappeared. And then I said, I better go and look after, but I had no vehicle. So I took the tractor and went after to look after him on the Salt Rocks. So he was just by Pirates Point, came back by Pirates Point, and he looked at me and said, I just wanted to know if you're coming after me. Here I was happy to come back barefoot, have my paradise, you know. But yes, this is what he wanted, and I really enjoyed it. We traveled the world, and then we came back, and I was happy, and my babies were here, all my peacocks and duckies and chicken, and I was happy.
The Salt Rocks are located in the west end of Little Cayman, which is where Basil had threatened to drive their car into the sea because Bridget lengthened her short skirts by 2 inches. Pretty dramatic threat and pretty dramatic scene of the almost crime. The Salt Rocks are vital in many ways to life on the island. The most important is that the rocks are the only deepwater site for barges and ships to deliver food, supplies, and vehicles to the island. This is where they offloaded all the building materials they purchased for their house, often in dangerous conditions. There were serious accidents and many mishaps at this site during the building of Bridget's house. What made Basil special is that he worked right alongside the other workers, unloading by hand or by tractor. Basil was not one to stand by idly and give orders. Bridget described one major scare when a tractor Basil was driving upended and everyone thought he'd been crushed. Basil was pulled out and miraculously stood up unscathed and yelled, "Bridget, bring me a cognac!" Bridget's dream home was finally completed in 1979. She and Basil had lived in a one-room bungalow they built on their property during the long, complicated, and often dangerous construction. When the castle was finally ready to move in, Basil took Bridget in his arms and danced her from one end of the house to the other. Both Bridget and Basil got what they wanted and were happy. But Basil died in 1995. He spent his wealth on their travels and making Bridget's island dream come true. Without Basil, Bridget may never have found her paradise. When you were building the house, Basil had a really terrible accident with some trusses. Tell us about what happened and how did you get him medical care?
He split his head open here, and one time we had trusses storage, like at the airport, and he had this water jug. Always his water jug was under the trusses, so he didn't pulled the water shotgun and the whole the trusses came off and he was split and open. So with one helper, his name was Bobo, and Bobo was a dark skin, brown skin, and he got white. Really and truly, he was like a ghost. He looked not like Bobo anymore. So Basil drove the tractor, came here, blood running down, and then he said, Bridget, help me sew this thing up, and this come like a fountain. So the main artery was open, but I don't know, I healed many things with herbs and my pets and me and Basil, but this, he said, I cannot. And then I cleaned it with water, and all of a sudden blood came like a fountain. I said, we have to phone, somebody has to, Bobo has to run, not run, but take my car over, go to Miss Eleanor, radio phone the airport Grand Cayman. And by chance, from Grand Cayman, a flight came to the Prague, but not here. So he said, okay, you have to land here because it's very urgent. And what I did is, how you call it, I put ice pack on Basel and all of feminine napkins. Yeah, that's what I had. And feminine, you look like a Easter bunny, you know, with big eyes, feminine napkins and clothes. And when we took him to the airport, then they went to Cayman Prague, and he came back on the same day with 26 stitches or something like this. Yeah.
Wow.
Because no doctor, no, nothing was here. This is what we wanted. So we never said, oh, how terrible, we have to go back. No, no.
And what was the closest you ever came to giving up? Was it during Hurricane Paloma, when there was so much damage to your house during that?
Yes. No, it was, the first was 88, Hurricane Gilbert, yeah. It was like a train rattling through the whole house. Everything was shaking and loud. And the roof went off, the waves came actually to here. We had drums, the gasoline drum filled with water and plywood. So we could see over how far the water comes and things there. This was really scary. This
Blew
was
out,
later, yeah.
Oh.
There we had a hexagon and a glass over. But this was after my husband died, and then I was there and the glass came on top of me. And this was another hurricane. Yeah, I went through all the hurricanes, but survived, yeah. And the house survived.
And what have you seen on this island that's still the same, and what's been different since you've lived here?
Well, different that there are more people, and we have electricity since '92. We lived without electricity from 73 until '92. We had 2 generators, and now since then more people came. The moment we had electricity, they built a Little Cayman Beach Resort right then and there. And they asked us, oh, are you happy now? No, we are not happy because, you know, we wanted this little island. We were selfish. But I could never do what we did then, you know, never. Because it was difficult to get propane, gasoline, diesel. They dumped it out there. They were floating in, and then we had to push it up. When we did this in the evening, we were happy because we achieved one thing. You know, it was good that we could do it. So yes. And now, well, people, but I'm okay if they build nice retirement home and nice and leave the environment and build it around, you know, not cut everything down.
When Bridget first arrived on Little Cayman in 1973, her life revolved around her personal dream to build her castle in the sun. It was a time of survival and meeting basic needs: water, food from the land and sea, and overcoming giant hurdles on a tiny, isolated island. As she and Basil built their life here, she became more deeply connected to the environment she loved. Preserving and keeping pristine, her paradise found became increasingly important. Her desire drew her to an even greater cause, the Little Cayman National Trust, which is dedicated to preserving the natural environment for present and future generations.
Bridget, we're at the Little Cayman National Trust, and you've had a lot of involvement in this trust over the years. Tell us about what this land was originally and how it came to be part of the trust.
Yes, originally it was our dump. We dumped all the batteries, all the garbage here. We had no idea to preserve. Nobody told us. Then Gladys Howard came and said, no, we have to preserve. She was the first one who was looking after the land. And then Governor Gore gave this piece of land that was dumped to the trust. And then Gladys Howard, we did the trust house for Little Cayman. And everybody helped to build. I drove the tractor and put the trusses up. I had to learn because my husband died, and I was happy to help. Yes. So it was the beginning. And we had good members. Everybody helped building the house, cutting the nature trail, and taking care of the nature trail too. So, and now again, we are doing the new nature trail. And I hope to preserve for the future young generation that they can see how it was, you know.
And how would you like to be remembered?
I don't know, as somebody who took care of the island, because I love the island and I like to have it nice and clean.
And is that your legacy then?
Yes, it's my legacy, yeah, the island, yeah. I'm very content with it.
In closing, I'd like to quote Bridget from her book, which sums up her legacy for the island. Because of all of my experiences, good and bad, I was led to this island, which became my beloved place in the sun. I have reached my goal. My desire now is to give back to nature and to help the environment of this beautiful island. With much love, Brigitte Kassa.